Greetings, everyone. Insight to the end times. Where are we in God's timetable? We're getting close to the very end. I'm happy that you joined us today. I'm Dr. Brian Scott, and we have been sharing with you through these podcasts for the last roughly 13 months where we are in God's timetable. We're getting closer and closer to the very end. We don't know when it will be, but we do know we're not far from it. Why? Because of all the events that are occurring. Jesus was asked a question in Matthew chapter 24, when will you return? When will you return? And what will be the sign of the end of the age? And he answers with the statement, take heed that no one deceive you. He goes on to share about deception in 5 different verses, or maybe it was 6 different verses. And he says, be very, very cautious that no one deceive you. Deception is causing us to believe a lie as if it were truth. And we were looking at a number of things yesterday, and I want to continue where we ended up. We were talking about the Ivy schools on the East Coast of the United States. When the students were asked, what is freedom of speech? What does it mean to you? It is protected by the U.S. Constitution. They said, in answering that question, you have the right to say anything you want to say as long as I agree with it. Now, the first part of the answer is correct. You have the right to say anything you want to say. But the second part's wrong. As long as I agree with it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But here's another situation that has developed, and people are not aware of it. The U.S. Constitution protects freedom of religion. And it has been renamed many times in recent years as freedom of worship. And because freedom of worship and freedom of religion seem to be the same type of thing, people haven't recognized the distinction. But here it is in a nutshell. Freedom of religion means I have the right to believe as I see fit, and I have the right to speak about that wherever I am. Freedom of worship, on the other hand, is I have the right to believe what I want to believe in my own home or in my own home church. But I don't necessarily have the right to share that publicly. And that in due course will mean I don't have the right to share that on the internet. I don't have the right to share that in television broadcasts or in radio broadcasts. I have to restrict that to my personal, private setting, not a public setting. See, this is an aberration. This is a deception. This is a seduction as if, hey, this is good, but it isn't good. It's going to have a heavy-duty situation come up over this in the near future, I'm sure of it. Do you remember when you used to watch the news? Now, I've been around a few years, amen? And as a result, I can remember watching the news when we actually believed the news because the news was well-researched, it documented, it was truthful, and we could bank on it. It was something that we could listen to and hear and know that it was accurate. That's not the case anymore. We don't know what's accurate. We don't know what's true. In fact, what will surprise you is when you watch the weather being discussed on the news, and they're pointing this way and that way and so on to all these trends and the clouds that are coming in and so on. They're standing in front of a green cloth. The cloth there's nothing on it, but they're on television. It shows as a complete map that they're pointing to and so on. It's the green screen, and it just doesn't. It's not the same as what we think it is what I'm getting at. We're seeing stories that are being presented to us as if they're truth. That this is going to harm the environment, that this is going to be wrong, this is going to be bad, et cetera, et cetera. We've been told that for many, many years. But when our government passes legislation to help us and protect us, we later find out it didn't help us at all, and it didn't protect us in many, many cases. Some of them do, but the majority of these situations are self-serving political gains, and they hurt us. We're going through a system of indirect taxation called carbon tax credits. All it's done is raise the cost of everything that we buy. Gasoline, oil for our homes, gasoline for our homes, natural gas for our homes, the cost of food and so on. They're supposedly helping the environment, but all it's done is cost us a lot of money. So deception is removing all our foundational truths, and it's removing all of our fundamental principles, because it's deceiving us into thinking the changes that they're proposing to are good changes. It reflects our current society, our current culture, our current progressive thinking. In other words, they're calling things like this the Great Reset. We have to have this Great Reset. It just simply means more control over us, and so on. What am I getting at? All the stuff that's going on in our world today is deceived. It's based in deception. It's based in delusion. It's based in control. It's based against our best interest, because it takes away from our moral standards. It takes away from our scriptural standards, our biblical standards. And it really gets us to the place where Isaiah the prophet said, there's a day coming when good will be evil and evil will be good. And that's what Jesus warned us about. And he said, it's the greatest sign of the very end. And we are seeing it everywhere, every day. And we're seeing it in much greater amplitude than we ever saw it before. We need to be aware that we're not too far off. We need to get ourselves ready. Got some more for you on this tomorrow. Hope to help you. Hope we're helping you, and we hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us today. Amen.